Houston, it's a gorgeous afternoon, although it's windy and a little bit cool. As Pat mentioned, the shadows are going to be a factor here this afternoon. You can see already the shadows crossing across home plate. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays' lineup for John Gibbons. Kevin Pillar, top of the order, then Josh Donaldson, Jose Bautista. No one has hit more home runs against David Price than Jose Bautista. He has 5 career home runs against the tough lefty. Chris Colabello has hit well here at Fenway Park. Grew up in the area, just 40 miles away from this ballpark, and he likes coming back playing in front of family and friends. Hopefully this will be a spot where Chris Colabello can get it going with the bat.
I think both David Price and the Toronto Blue Jays are very excited about this day right here. Price gets the start today. He's coming off of a rough start last Monday when he gave up 5 runs in the 3rd inning. That was a no decision versus the Baltimore Orioles, a game that the Boston Red Sox would eventually lose. Remember last year he was a Toronto Blue Jay. He went 9-1 with the Blue Jays. In that last start, he averaged about 92 miles per hour on his fastball.
Kevin Pillar takes the first pitch in there for a strike, and we are underway. Pillar batting .205 for the early going. He has a home run against David Price. 0-2. Price throws a lot of strikes. He comes at you. For his career, he has 105 wins. He's 105-56. This is his 216th career start.
Just win, baby, right? That's what it's all about. We were talking in the opening about Price jumping ahead 0-1 and what he does after that, a .213 average. He's also averaged a lot of strikeouts, 984 when he jumps ahead 0-1. And we were talking today about Porcello pitching inside, and will David Price do the same thing? Well, he's shown what he's going to do. He comes right inside against Pillar with 2 strikes to finish him off.
1 down, Josh Donaldson. You can see Price blowing on his hands. That's always something the umpires establish early on. The pitchers can blow on their hand, try to keep the feel on that baseball. 1 out. There's the strike. What are the challenges for the hitters with Price in the sunshine and the home plate in the shade?
You know, very simply, just see the baseball. I was talking to both of the Red Sox players and I was talking to the Blue Jay players. This is about the time that you take batting practice. And yesterday the Red Sox were hitting at 4 o'clock, and some of them didn't even come out on the field because they said they couldn't see the ball during batting practice. The Blue Jays said the exact same thing at 5 o'clock when they hit.
Price ahead 1-2 to Donaldson.
You got the pitcher standing in the bright sunshine, the batter in the shade, and you just can't pick the baseball up halfway towards home plate, and you really can't pick up the spin of the baseball if you're hitting like in these situations.
Just missed that outside corner. Price will work the fastball to both sides of the plate. He does the same with his cutter. He's probably got one of the best backdoor cutters in all of baseball.
Yeah, he'll use that to the right-handers. And John Farrell says you got to be able to pitch inside. We saw that last night from Rick Porcello. He hit a couple of Blue Jays, but he pitched inside very effectively to pick up those 8 strikeouts. Price is going to do the same thing today.
David Price is now 30 years old, and there's his nemesis on deck. Jose Bautista has 5 career home runs against David Price. Three-two pitch. Lined into the alley in right center. Jackie Bradley's not going to get this one. It goes into the triangle. Donaldson's got his eye on Bradley. He's making the turn for third. Here's the relay from Pedroia, not in time. For Donaldson, he starts things off with a triple. Then that triangle, 420 feet away from home plate. He hit it right into the deepest part of this ballpark.
And it gobbles up the baseball. That's where triples come from right there. I thought Price went to the outside fastball one too many times and then tries to go inside, and that's when Josh is ready. 3-2. That play is right in front of him. He can see that thing bouncing around in the triangle 420 feet from home plate, so he's going to make the third base rather easily. Deepest part of the ballpark.
One out for Bautista. There's a pop foul down the right side. That's going to blow into the seats out of play. Pat, the Red Sox are doing something very unusual defensively on the infield against Bautista.
Well, first of all, they're straight up. You don't see that a whole lot, but the right side of the infield was in, and the left side of the infield was back with the runner at third base and less than 2 outs. There's Hanley Ramirez, the first baseman, is in. Dustin Pedroia is in on the right side, which is really interesting.
John Farrell, of course, knows Bautista very well, having managed him, and he understands that Jose can handle him better. So they're trying to take that right side away from him. High, deep drive to left. Bautista has hit one high and deep off the top of the wall. Donaldson jogs home, and Bautista ends up at second. Now he's going to try to challenge the arm. Here's the play. He got him. Bautista indicating he feels like he beat the tag, but he was a little bit indecisive around the bag at second, and that may have cost him. It's bang, bang at third.
Well, he's not even moving off of third base. He feels pretty sure of himself that the tag was missed by Travis Shaw. He came around second base, and he was watching the relay throw from Jackie Bradley in center field. And when he missed his spot, and we're going to take a look at this one, when he missed his overthrow, he overthrew the cutoff man. That's when Bautista said, I'm going to take a chance of getting to third base. And right away, he indicated that he wanted John Gibbons to take a look at this one. First the hit high off of the wall in left field, and watch him coming around second base. Stutter step, he's watching that center fielder all the way. And his argument is that he slid in and pulled that hand back and got the left hand in before Shaw tagged him. One more time, the ISO on Bautista. He's watching the throw. He overthrows the cutoff man, and let's see.
Boy, great slide by Bautista, and looked like he may have avoided the tag. Luis Rivera right there on top of the plate. He takes away his left shoulder, and Shaw tries to tag him. I don't think he ever made contact with him.
One more time, two things. It looked like he hit him in the leg right at the end. Right there. But I can't tell if the hand was in there. And then I saw Shaw swipe one more time again at Bautista like he missed him initially.
This replay is powered by Samsung. Again, another close play being scrutinized by the video review crew in New York. Ted Barrett is the crew chief. He's the third base umpire that made the call. And there's the play once again. Hands on the bag. I think his hand is on the bag before he tagged him.
That's the shot right there. The hand is there, and there's the tag right above the knee. I think the Blue Jays are going to have back-to-back triples here.
Well, no matter what happens, the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead.
Boy, Bautista shows him the right hand, and then he pulls the right hand back, making a long way for Travis Shaw to go and tag him. A nifty slide.
I know one thing, David Price doesn't want to be standing on the mound in this windy afternoon. Jackie Bradley got the ball in quickly, and he made a wide throw to third on the relay. Bautista had his eye, and you can see that he pulled the shoulder back, felt like the tag was late on his leg by Shaw.
He was pretty adamant also when he got up at third base, asking the Blue Jays to take a look at it.
Umpires have the decision, and they're going to call him out. Ted Barrett raises the hand in the air. The call on the field stands. And the Blue Jays lose their challenge. First inning challenge out the door.
That happened yesterday in the game. One more time, Bautista. The only thing I can think of is there's not enough evidence to show that he got the hand in it. That one shot we had certainly looked like he got his left hand in there before he was tagged.
Edwin Encarnacion, big night last night. 3 hits, 2 home runs. He drove in all 3 of the Blue Jays' runs. Edwin has 3 career home runs against Price. batting .310 to start the season. Well, for the shadow aspect, Blue Jays, Donaldson and Bautista continue to hit the ball hard.
What shadow?
What shadow? They could hit with the lights off, I think. Well, Edwin has been a streaky hitter throughout his career, and he's had a couple of encouraging games that makes you think that he's going to put together a hot streak in the early going. Two balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Price struck out Kevin Pillar to start the ball game, and then Donaldson tripled and Bautista doubled. Price strikes out Encarnacion, but the Blue Jays break out on top. Jose Bautista picks up an RBI, his 8th of the season. Price a couple of strikeouts, 1-0 Blue Jays. Donaldson gets it all going with a triple. They score in the top half of the first inning. Let's take a look at the Red Sox lineup for John Farrell. Mookie Betts, Dustin Pedroia, then Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts off to a hot start against the Blue Jays this season, 6 for 17. 3 doubles, and he scored 6 runs already. And then right behind him, David Ortiz, tied for the American League lead with 8 extra base hits. That was at the start of the game. Now Josh Donaldson has broken that tie with his 9th extra base hit.
Ortiz doesn't look like he's slowing down either. Marco Estrada certainly is not slowing down. He was absolutely masterful in his first start of the season against the same Boston Red Sox in a game that the Blue Jays needed back at Rogers Center. 5 hits, 8 strikeouts in 7 innings. He has allowed 2 runs or less in 11 of his last 13 starts dating back to last season. Off to a great start this year in that first start.
Marco was slowed down again in spring training. This time he had a little bit of a back muscle problem. Nothing related to his arm, and boy, he was good his first time out. Here's Mookie Betts. Betts takes the first pitch strike. Betts batting .262. Starting to swing the bat the way he did last year.
He's so quick with his hands, Mookie Betts. He's got great hands. David Ortiz, his teammate, likens him to Gary Sheffield. Says his bat is as quick as Gary Sheffield's, and we all know what kind of seasons and career Sheffield had.
One and two to the leadoff man for the Sox. Marco Estrada, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, and 8 strikeouts last Sunday against Boston.
You know, one of the pitches I thought that was very effective for Marco wasn't just the changeup. He was able to use the changeup, and he threw a lot of them to right-handed batters, Mookie Betts being one of them, and he used them on the outside part of the plate. Strike
3 called. Mookie Betts caught looking at that fastball, and Marco Estrada has his first strikeout of the afternoon. Take a look at the defense. It's Carrera, Pilar, and Bautista in the outfield, and Donaldson and Tulowitzki on the left side. Darwin Barney makes a start at second base. Chris Colamello's at first. Russell Martin back behind the plate for Marco Estrada.
A couple of changes for the Blue Jays. You mentioned the lefty Carrera in there and Darwin Barney. Chris Colamello gets the start here. You mentioned it's his hometown, so maybe the start against David Price, his 6th at first base, will get that bat going.
Dustin Pedroia hits it to right. Bautista on the run over in the alley, looking right into that sun. That's always a challenge in these late afternoon starts here at Fenway Park.
Must not be too much of a challenge because Jose's got the glasses up on top of the bill of his cap. So right now, that's what he's dealing with right here. Wait for just a little bit longer. When that sun goes down just a little bit, it is a brutal right field to have to deal with this time of the day.
Xander Bogaerts, the number 3 hitter, goes after the first pitch and fouls it straight back over the screen. Bogaerts, we mentioned his hot start against the Jays. 6 for 17, batting .263 for the season. Patented changeup, and again, you can see how far out in front those hitters are. Ball's not even in that hitting zone yet, and they're swinging at it.
He's going to make it awfully tough today, especially with those shadows. You see the ball out of his hand, and the ball just doesn't get there. Marco does such a great job of digging that ball back into his hands. Here's the side swing. Note where the ball is. By him, down and away, just messing up his time. He does a good job of his arm action on those pitches. It looks like a fastball coming out of his hand.
Yeah, so much about hitting is related to timing, and Marco does a great job of having the same arm action on all 4 of his pitches.
Throws it right out of the same arm slot. Sometimes pitchers will tip off what they're going to throw.
Off balance swing, a pop up to left field. Carrera is there. Quick getting for Marco Estrada. 3 up, 3 down. Made his Blue Jays debut on Monday afternoon, August 3rd, and it was quite an event.
It was electric inside the Rogers Center that afternoon. If you remember that, he got into trouble early in that game, and I believe he struck out the side. He had a great cutter going. I think he was a little bit amped up with his fastball that afternoon. 11 strikeouts and won over the hearts of the Blue Jay fans.
David Price took the field 45 minutes before the start of that game. He got a standing ovation the first time the Blue Jay fans got to see him at Rogers Center, and it was quite an afternoon, and one that David, I'm sure, will always remember. He called that atmosphere at Rogers Center the best atmosphere he'd ever pitched in. Blue Jays lead at 1-0. Jose Bautista with the RBI double. Troy Tulowitzki will step in. Tulowitzki off to a bit of a slow start. 4 for 6 though against David Price.
You wouldn't know it by the way he is fielding the baseball and the way he is playing shortstop this year. So many times guys take their hitting woes out onto the field and then their defense becomes subpar, but not this guy. He's been the best, I think, in baseball.
Two 2-0 pitch. I think there are 3 positions where you can have an impact defensively no matter what you're hitting. Catcher, shortstop, and center field. I think if you go out and play good defense, you can contribute to a win despite your problems at the plate. Certainly for the catcher.
You're not going to knock in a run as many times as you're going to save the run defensively. And that is such a key position. You talk to so many baseball people, and if they had the first pick in a draft of starting a team, invariably they're picking catchers or shortstops, right? Because they know the importance of those positions defensively.
2-2. Outside, it's a full count. Well, shortstops generally in high school or college are the best athletes on the field. So most pro teams are going to take the best athletes. And we all know catchers are always the smartest ones. So that's why they take catchers.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say the best athletes and the smartest ones, but you just went with smartest one. Okay.
Nah, I didn't want to talk about athleticism. 3-2 pitch. High fly ball to left field. Brock Holt is back. The wind is blowing in, and that saves Price a home run. The wind has been blowing in all afternoon from center field, and that ball got up in that breeze and got knocked straight down.
When it left the bat, it looked like it had a chance to at least go off the wall. I think David Price knows that too. It's blowing in. And you get it up in the wind, that's right behind us there. That's the one that's really the telling flag, I think, here at Fenway Park.
Yeah, that's the real barometer, and the Red Sox players will always look at that flag as opposed to any other flag to give them the best idea about how it might affect the baseball. Chris Colabello cuts on that inside pitch. Colabello, I mentioned his success here at Fenway, 8 for 20 with a double, a home run, and 6 RBIs. He's looking to get it started. That was so far inside, Colabello lost his thumb guard.
I was like, what was that flew back there? It was his thumb guard. Batters will put that thumb on there to save their right thumb. Watch it come off and spins away. He's looking for it right away. He knows it. It's a little piece of styrofoam that sits on your right thumb, so when you get jammed, it cushions the blow of that bat up against your hand. One and two now
on Colabello. David Price, as we mentioned earlier, very deliberate between pitches. He clears his head, gathers his thoughts, and prepares for the next pitch.
It's a very simple delivery from David Price, who stands over on the first base side of the pitching rubber. Got a little bit of a crossfire motion. We're starting to see more pitchers start like this. They feel like they're a little bit more comfortable and they stay together. There's not a lot of moving parts to their windup. He just turns and goes.
That's off the end of the bat. Hanley Ramirez takes it and steps on the bag. 2 down. Now, David Price is one of the elite pitchers in the game, and when you look at his numbers against the Blue Jays, it certainly reflects that.
21 starts, 16-2 record, and an outstanding earned run average. He's 7-0 in his last 9 games started against the Toronto Blue Jays. You can see why they tried to pick him up, or they did pick him up last year for the stretch drive, and unfortunately they couldn't keep him on their team. Now they got to face him again, being in this division.
Price went 18-5 a year ago and finished second in the Cy Young voting to Dallas Keuchel. Price won his own Cy Young Award in 2012, pitching for Tampa Bay. Russell Martin, like Colabello, looking to get things going with the bat. Two balls and no strikes. Of course, Martin caught Price for those 11 regular season starts last year. At the top limits of that strike zone, up and away.
So he, more than anybody on this team, should have a pretty good feel of what David Price is going to try and do. He tracked that ball how many times last year in those starts? So he knows what that ball is doing on its way towards home plate.
Sometimes you can get ahead of yourself when you try to play that cat and mouse game with somebody you're familiar with. I think you're always better off just picking up the baseball and sticking with your normal approach. Popped up into shallow center. Jackie Bradley Jr. coming in. He's going to get there and makes the catch. David Price retires the side in order in the top of the second. Matchup was a very good combination for the Blue Jays last year during the postseason, and especially when you think about how they pitched down the stretch.
Look at the opponent's batting average. Price and Estrada, 207, 203. Marco was #1. The whip, Estrada and Price, very similar. And these two guys won probably the two biggest games for the Blue Jays last season. Remember, they got down the first two games at home, had to go to Texas, and it was Estrada who won game 3 with a beautifully pitched game. David Price had to come out of the bullpen to win game #4, but he did. John Gibbons was talking about that today. How many pitchers heading into their free agent year would come out of the bullpen to help their team in the playoffs? And that was the thing that he said about David Price. He was probably his greatest teammate that he'd ever been around, and he didn't care who got the credit, just let's win the ball game.
David Ortiz will lead things off for Boston. David Price began his career pitching out of the bullpen at Tampa Bay. Actually picked up a win and a save in the postseason for the Rays before he ever had either in the big regular season. David Price, that was a decoy for sure. Just seeing if anybody would move. He showed
Ortiz showed the bunt. And Josh Donaldson is playing straightaway shortstop, didn't even move. And he's not even going to move because he knows that was a deke.
Oh, Ortiz had a stolen base last night, so he said maybe I should get a bunt this afternoon.
A bunt hit and a stolen base in back-to-back games. What is going on here?
His 16th stolen base of his career, and first since 2013.
Did you see some of those numbers? I was reading a thing today about that stolen base. A 40-year-old Boston Red Sox player getting a stolen base. Ted Williams, David Ortiz.
Cy Young.
Cy Young.
So Estrada loses Ortiz. He wants him to start the inning. Marco was great his first start of the season. That was against this same Red Sox team. Blue Jays scored 2 in the bottom of the first on a double play ball and then a Pedroia error, and then they got the second run on a fielder's choice. With 7 innings, 5 hits, he walked 2 and struck out 8.
He was changing speeds all afternoon, and he really got into the heads, I thought, of the Boston Red Sox hitters. They didn't know what to expect.
Hanley Ramirez pops the first one back over the screen and out of play. You know, we're going to talk about this over the course of the season as we get into the regular season, but something that has really come into vogue this season is spin rate. You hear managers and coaches talking about it, and in relationship to Marco Estrada, they talk about the spin rate of his changeup and how that has led to his effectiveness. There's a good fastball, 0-2. And it's something we're just going to introduce to you as the course of the season goes on. But the Red Sox are really into spin rate, and the Blue Jays are starting to really get into it as well.
And all it is the rotations of the baseball as it makes its way towards home plate. Some pitchers are able to spin it quicker than other pitchers, and they're finding out that the higher the spin rate, the lower the exit velocity, and they're not hitting the ball as sharply.
And that's why Marco Estrada, pitching at 89-90, can get so many weakly hit balls when he pitches up in the zone. He changeup.
He's got some of the weakest contact against in all of baseball, and it has to do with the spin rate is just a part of it, but his being able to pitch, use his fastball in breaking ball counts, throw the changeup over when he's behind in count. I think the cutter became a very big pitch for him. He introduced it last year, and the cutter's simply just to get people off of the fastball. And then you throw in a good curveball.
Ground ball hit to third. Donaldson quickly to second for 1. Barney's return, not in time. Darwin Barney dealing with David Ortiz, who was sliding into second. His throw was just a little bit late. Ramirez runs well. He hustled out of the box and beats the return throw to first.
Hanley Ramirez had a play in last night's game that I thought turned out to be a big play. When he struck out, you can see on the return throw that he is safe. Blue Jays are out of challenges anyway, right? But he hustled down to first base after a strikeout that kept the inning going and helped them score some runs. There's Ramirez on the front part of the bag. That's a good piece of base running right there.
1 out. Travis Shaw, he can swing it, man. First pitch swinging, he rips a ball into right. Happy birthday, Travis Shaw. Gets a base hit on his birthday.
26 years young, and he's not waiting around. He came up with a big hit in last night's game. We were talking about the play by Ramirez, Hanley Ramirez, who struck out and hustled to first base, and then Travis Shaw doubled off the center field wall to score a couple of runs. So a good hustle by Ramirez last night led to a couple of runs. Some good hustle here leads to a couple of runners on base.
Marco Estrada now will work to Brock Holt, looking for a ground ball. 1 out. Runners at first and second. Brock Holt, a grand slam against the Blue Jays at Rogers Center, his first career grand slam. Half of those 8 RBIs for the season. First pitch strike. Pat, what impressed me about Estrada in his first outing was how good his command was. Not only the fact he had a good changeup curveball, but his fastball command was exceptional.
And usually when you miss as much of spring training as Marco did, and the injuries that he had, some back problems, the command just isn't there. But he got his work. That's not to say he didn't get his work down in spring training. He would throw down in the minor leagues, and when the Blue Jays went to Montreal and Tampa Bay, he stayed back and got some work in, and he built up his arm strength and everything. But it's not the same facing major league hitters as it is facing those minor league hitters. But you're right, he was spot on in that first start.
Boy, there's a great changeup and a strikeout for Estrada, his second strikeout of the afternoon.
What a job by Russell Martin to catch that ball before it hit the dirt. Watch the glove go down. He knows it's a changeup, it's going to go down, stays right with it and picks it.
Look at where that ball is in relationship to the bat. He is so far out in front, so badly fooled by it. The ball hadn't even gotten close to home plate, and he'd already swung through it. Christian Vasquez, what a season debut he had last night. A couple of hits, 2 for 4, and handled Rick Porcello, and Porcello was over the top with praise for the young catcher.
Really emphasized that fastball inside, pitching inside. He also picked off a runner at first base.
Bautista over near the wall. It's about 4 rows deep, back out of play.
John Farrell was talking about the ability to have a catcher who can shut down the running game. That is just one less thing that the starting pitcher or the pitcher who's in there at the time doesn't have to worry about.
Well, and Chew, even if you don't pick off a runner, but because they know you're going to throw, they'll shorten their lead. It might pay off on an extra base hit. Might keep the guy from scoring.
Save a run for your pitcher. But if you just don't have to worry about varying your deliveries to home or concentrate too hard on those runners on base and just concentrate on executing pitches, that's got to be a lot easier.
Tell you what, he's swinging the bat very well right now. He hit the ball hard all night last night, lined out to the first baseman in one at bat. Had 2 balls crashing off the wall and left.
He's built like a catcher, isn't he?
He's built like Pudge Rodriguez. That's why he wears that number 7.
7, right.
He got a piece of that changeup. You know, it's interesting. We always talk about San Pedro de Macorís when you talk about shortstops coming out of the Dominican Republic. Well, Puerto Rico has really produced some great catchers. Go back to Benito Santiago, the catcher I played with, Ellie Rodriguez, who was an all-star for the Royals in '69, the Molina brothers, Sandy Alomar. And now it looks like Christian Vasquez is going to carry the torch.
Pudge Rodriguez, you mentioned him.
Ball bounced in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead, bottom of the 2nd inning. Marco Estrada was rewarded for a great season with a 2-year contract. He signed as a free agent with the Blue Jays in the offseason. Estrada said the reason he signed so quickly with the Blue Jays, he loved his teammates. He thought the atmosphere was terrific. He said, I'd never been on a team where we had so much fun and we were good to boot. So he comes back and he knows the situation. You know, when you're a free agent, you sign with somebody, you don't really know what it's going to be like to play for another team.
Well, you won here. Plus, the type of pitcher he is, pitch to contact kind of guy. Having this kind of defense always helps.
Well, good pitch there. The inside fastball gets Christian Vasquez through 2 innings. Estrada has 3 strikeouts and the lead. Going on in the sports world, of course, the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs, baseball just cranking up.
Did I hear
for the season?
Did I hear the Raptors lost today?
Yeah, I think so. They were ahead for
yeah.
quite a bit in that second half.
That's not good. I'm a basketball fan.
Indiana.
I want them to do well.
Darwin Barney gets the start here this afternoon at Fenway Park. First time he has faced David Price. He made 3 starts at third base, filling in for Josh Donaldson with that calf injury in the Red Sox series.
He's a valuable player to have on your team. You can even put him in the outfield if you have to. He's just a fine defender, and whatever you get offensively, I think it's a bonus.
He's already had a couple of stolen bases. He is making his second start at second base. He made those 3 starts over at third base, filling in for Donaldson. Darwin Barney played baseball at Oregon State, and he got to the College World Series 3 straight years. And he says it doesn't really get appreciated, but playing in those College World Series games as a college player really prepares you for the big leagues. Great crowd, lots of atmosphere, great competition. The ball is lifted into center. Jackie Bradley Jr. now a couple of steps back. 1 down.
The all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Beautiful downtown Boston, just a few blocks away from Fenway Park. There's Ezequiel Carrera playing in left field this afternoon, batting 9th. Shows bunt and pulls the bat back.
Timmy was talking about Zeke, as they call him here on this team today, about being a 4th outfielder. He said he did some nice things for the team last year, helped them. He says he can hold his own against left-handed pitching.
I think the one thing for a lefty batter against David Price, he doesn't have that big sweeping breaking ball. Everything is kind of firm. It's a firm cutter, firm fastball.
So can you look to sides of the plate then, because he moves the ball around from the inside part of the plate or over to the outside part of the plate? Then you can just look for one spot then. Take a guess early on. Well, he said Carrera's been a good player for him. He makes contact and he battles those left-handers. He's in tough today against Price. That's the tough thing, isn't it? When you get your chance to play.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations, you get to start today. Oh, by the way, you're starting against David Price. But you know, you were an extra player too. And when the regular wanted a day off, he generally picked the day off when Cy Young was pitching.
That's why they're good players. They're smart. I'd rather, if you're Carrera, go out there and do your thing against the best pitchers. Show your worth.
Kevin Pillar called out on strikes his first time up. Francone's getting the day off. He'll be back in there tomorrow. Little chopper pulled foul. Carrera, for his career, has hit .269 against lefty pitching.
So he's holding his own against some tough lefties. You know, maybe on this team, ideally, your 4th outfielder would be a right-handed hitter, because we've seen Michael Saunders out a couple of times and Carrera's filled in for him. But this guy did some good things for the Jays last year.
Yeah, he sure did, and he has the ability to steal the occasional base. He's just limited in the amount of at-bats he's going to get.
Hey, it is so hard for an extra player to play. Okay, your timing gets messed up. I was talking to a couple of them on the Blue Jays this morning about that. And you know, you can go through spring training and you're playing every day. Then the season starts, and now you might be playing once every 5 days. Just got to battle and keep yourself in good spirits. Stay confident.
2 down on the career ground down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. The Mariners won the game last night against New York, and it's something unusual happened against the Yankees as Kevin Pillar steps in. The Mariners scored in 6 consecutive innings against the Yankees. It's the first time that's ever happened in Joe Girardi's 9 years as the manager. That's giving it up pretty consistently.
Yeah, lots of base runners. I remember doing a game there where the Blue Jays played the Yankees, and the Yankees scored in every inning against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's hard to do, and the Yankee shuttle has already begun with their bullpen. Tyler Olson was called up. He pitched 1 game, got sent back to the minors. Brandon Pinder's now called up. They're shuffling guys in and out already, just in the 2nd week of the season.
In that game today, King Felix pitched in that game today, and he tied Randy Johnson's record for most strikeouts by a Mariner.
Austin was headed to the dugout on that last pitch. They thought that was strike 3, just missed the outside corner.
That time he looked like he tried to backdoor him with that cutter. He struck him out in the 1st inning on an inside fastball. They might go right back there.
Took something off, and Pillar has struck out for a 2nd time. David Price has retired 7 in a row.
Bello and Justin Smoke have had a bit of a slow start at the plate. I caught up with Smoke earlier, and he told me that he and Colabello just have to get on the fastball. They're getting beat on 88, 90 mile per hour fastballs, and that just can't happen on a team like this. Last night versus Rick Porcello, Smoke told me that he had plenty of opportunities to hit, but couldn't get the job done because his timing was off. He stuck around post-game and watched plenty of video and determined it wasn't his swing, but in fact, his timing was off. Not playing on a more regular basis has been tough on him, not getting those at-bats. And unfortunately, that's the role he's been given, he told me, and he's got to keep working at it until he gets it right. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. That's a very interesting fact that they just have been missing their fastballs, and they get a lot of pitches to hit early in the season. Timing is an issue. That one kicks off of Estrada, and Jackie Bradley Jr. beats the throw to first. Marco Estrada got hit, looked like on the left leg, left ankle. Trying to kick off the effects now. John Gibbons and Mike Frostad are going to come out of the Blue Jays dugout and have a look at their pitcher. That ball comes back at you pretty quickly.
It looked like it was the left heel, like the ball might have hit him around the ankle or the heel area. One more time, it comes back quickly, you're right. Maybe a little bit higher up now as you see the slow motion visual of that off the calf. Tulowitzki didn't give up on that play. He kept playing right through it and almost threw out Bradley at first base.
It appears as though Estrada got hit on the calf and try to keep it loose. Probably fortunate it was on the meaty part of his leg and not the shin bone. And toss a couple here and see if it's going to cause him any problems. Seems to say it's okay. He's going to try to walk it off and keep it loose. So it's an infield hit for Jackie Bradley Jr. Red Sox now with 2 hits in a game. They match the Blue Jays. Blue Jays got both of their hits in the first inning off Price. A triple by Donaldson and an RBI double by Bautista. Mookie Betts called out on strikes his first time up.
Well, it's always dangerous when the number 9 hitter with some speed over there at first base gets on to lead off an inning. Now you're in the stretch. You're thinking about the speed over there at first base. Don't forget about the guy hitting. Betts can hurt you. He struggled last season early in the year, but from June 1st on, what a dynamite player he was.
Tell you what, one thing you'll have to think about here at Fenway Park is the stolen base won't beat you like the home run. You start thinking about that base runner at first base and you'll give up a 2 spot in a heartbeat.
Just get the ball in the air. That's what you're trying to get it down on the ground.
Two and 1 now to Mookie Betts. Estrada retired to side in the order, struck out Betts, got Pedroia on the liner and popped up Bogarts.
They're doing a good job of handling this guy who wore him out last year. I think he's only had a couple of scratch hits against the Blue Jays so far this year.
Pops this one up. It's playable. Colabello at first, shading his eyes, makes the catch. 1 down. Well, Marco Estrada had a slow start last season. He started in the bullpen, made his first start of the season on May 5th, and what a finish to his season he had.
This is including the playoffs over his last 17 starts. Check out that earned run average. Folks, that's pitching in the American League with the designated hitter. That's incredible. A 241 earned run average. Pitched some big ball games. You mentioned the ones in the playoffs that he had. I mean, he looks confident too when you watch him out on the mound now. I think he knows he's got so many different ways to get you out, and he's very confident right now.
Marco won game 3 of the ALDS at Texas 5-1, pitched into the 7th inning in that game. Then he opened up the ALCS against Kansas City and lost to Edinson Volquez. Ground ball. Donaldson to his left, goes off his glove. Pedroia reaches.
That's the one area defensively that Josh Donaldson said he's had problems before, going to his left, and it looked like a ball that he could make a play on. Reaches and it's just off of his glove. He said he and Tulowitzki have been practicing, and Tulowitzki has been giving him some pointers on how to field that ball a little bit deeper in your stance as a third baseman. That time it sneaks under his glove.
That extends Pedroia's hit streak to 19 straight against the Blue Jays, going all the way back into September of 2014. Need to go back to the drawing board and get up a new game plan.
He's a tough out.
Xander Bogaerts now with 2 on. Fly ball deep to left, high and deep and gone. Xander Bogaerts with his first home run of the season. It's a 3-run shot, and the Red Sox have taken the lead.
Well, it looked like it might have been a fastball right there down. This guy's a good hitter. 196 hits last year, a 320 average, and he's just getting started, I think, in his career. One more time, they try to go in. It's down, out over the plate, and there's really no chance for this ball to come back. Bogaerts with home run number 1.
Bogaerts hit 7 home runs a year ago, and this is a no-doubter into the seats. He is really becoming one of the rising stars in the game. David Ortiz takes a strike. 3-1 Boston. Donaldson playing up the middle in the shift, throws out Ortiz.
That's what you want to do after giving up that home run. You come right back against a very dangerous hitter.
And Ramirez will step in. Get into a fielder's choice. Barely beat the return throw at first to get on board. That was in the 2nd inning. He goes after the first pitch. We're keeping our eye on Estrada to see if he's showing any signs of the effects of having that ball hit him in the calf. Jackie Bradley Jr. started the inning with a hot shot comeback into the mound that hit Estrada on the back of his left leg. Curveball and a good one. 0-2.
He talks about his cutter being a big pitch for him last year. I think his curveball complementing his high fastball, I think, was a big piece of what he was doing last year also. You just can't sit on one pitch.
Trying to go upstairs and miss. That's a fair ball. Bautista will play it off the wall. Ramirez headed for second, and he'll get there with a slide. Boy, Russell Martin wanted that ball up and in, and Estrada missed all the way across the plate, and Ramirez rifled it down into the right field corner.
Yeah, you could see that Russell wanted to go to that high fastball. Look where he wants that thing, up. Give me it up here so we can set up our curveball, but it's down the middle, and it's out over the plate for Hanley Ramirez. He's hit a few home runs against the Blue Jays already, and he continues his hot hitting with an extra base hit off the wall in right field.
Tell you what, Hanley Ramirez keeps swinging the bat like that, covering that outside pitch. He's going to have a big year. He got a little poo conscious in this ballpark last year, thinking too much about that green monster, but that was a great swing on a fastball away.
Did you see how close that ball came from hooking around that pole or slicing around that pole? On that replay, that was just a couple of feet from going out.
Travis Shaw singled in his first at bat.
It's not very far down that right field line, and that ball is just slicing.
It ran at the top of the fence just short of that foul pole.
I saw Adam Lind hit a ball down the right field line down there, and it hit the pole. I don't even remember what they did, but they went down and they put a little net because the line that's on the wall, the bottom of the wall, is a little bit different than where the pole is. We had that one shot right there. It's the line that's on the wall. And that little piece that's sticking out down at the bottom down there, you can see it's not perfectly centered. He hit a ball down that right field line. See that little netting right there? They put that netting in there because of the home run by Lynn. It's connecting that line with the pole.
I remember that game. And we went down there after the fact to have a look, and then we saw that new net put up right there because the ball had gone inside the foul line and hooked foul, actually. They call it a home run because it passed over that lower painted line on the fence.
Before replay, right? So that's one of those quirky little things that was added to this ballpark after being here for 100 years.
1-2 to Travis Shaw. Upstairs.
He was bound and determined to get it up there that time, wasn't he? And that's a purpose pitch. Throw that high fastball up there, you might drop that curve on him now.
Changeup missed away. Full count. Brock Holt is on deck. Hannah Ramirez with the doubles at second. Boston has scored 3 runs this inning on the 3-run home run by Bogarts. Base hit through the left side. Coming around third is Ramirez. Here's the throw from Carrera. It is not in time. Angel Hernandez said he got the plate. Russell Martin went after him. And Hannah Ramirez said, man, I had nowhere to slide, but it was a moot point. He beat the throw to the plate. Shaw is 2 for 2 and comes up with the RBI. It's a 4-run inning.
That was a tricky little maneuver at home plate by Hannah Ramirez. You can see he can come off on the crack of the bat. He's got a nice turn coming around third base, but watch this move. He avoids the tag and then steps on home plate with his left foot, just scrapes his cleats across the plate right there. And Martin misses the tag. You can see he was saying, hey, there was no place for me to slide.
Brock Holt struck out on a changeup his first time up. Travis Shaw picks up his 4th ribby of the season. Ground ball. Barney takes the short hop. The inning is over. But Boston, with a 3-run home run and an RBI single, has taken a 4-1 lead as we head to the 4th.
Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
That is the Mass Turnpike right beyond the wall in left field here at Fenway Park. Blue Jay fans are everywhere having a good time here this Patriots Day weekend. Monday, Patriots Day, the Boston Marathon will take place, and I'm at a Canadian runner that's going to run in the marathon on Monday. And he is a 2-time leukemia survivor.
Really? Going to run in the Boston Marathon?
He's going to run in the marathon. It was great to talk to him today. He's from London, Ontario. Josh Donaldson tripled to the triangle in deep center field his first time up. Donaldson had his hit streak snapped last night. Red Sox threw a no-hitter, except for the fact that Edwin got 3 hits. Donaldson with 9 extra base hits so far this season.
You know, Blue Jays haven't been hitting. That's pretty obvious. And what did they hit last April? There were guys who got off to cold starts in April last year, but nobody seemed to mind. It's just what they had such a great year last season that everybody's trying to live up to the hype. Well, it's going to take a while to get things going.
You know, every season is different, and it takes a little time to get into the flow of a season. I don't care how good you are. It seems as though hitters are going to be different, and you have to lay that foundation, and it starts in April. Last year, the Blue Jays were 11-12 in April.
They didn't tear the cover off of the ball at all. And I was talking to Brooke Jacoby about that today before batting practice and asking him about that. You know, what is there that you can do as a batting coach? He said, I know these guys are going to hit, but I have to remain confident. And the players have to remain confident that they're going to hit. It's just a matter of time before you start putting it together. You know, maybe it's when the weather starts getting warmer. Maybe it's when you're facing easier pitchers, if you will. I mean, they've been running some tough pitching. It's a combination of all kind of things.
When you look at the first 2 months a year ago, the Blue Jays were 23-29, 6 games under 500 after 2 months. Donaldson called out. He didn't expect that to be called as strike. David Price is zeroing in on things. 8 in a row retired by Price.
Early on the outside part of the plate, now he's going to bust it in. That's a cutter, and Donaldson doesn't think it's a strike as he backs way off that one, and I think Price might have got the call on that one.
Jose Bautista doubled high off the green monster in left center. And he was thrown out trying to advance to third base. The Blue Jays asked for the review, and the call on the field out at third was upheld. No one has hit as many home runs against Price as Jose Bautista. He has 5 career home runs against Price.
And he came real close to hitting number 6 in that first inning. That thing, when it left the bat, I thought he had enough.
Outside.
All right, look at that. Everything is away. Jose isn't even offering at it.
There's a strike, 3-1. Bautista with 5 home runs. Curtis Granderson against Price has 4. And then there's a host of hitters with 3 career home runs against Price. Teixeira, McCann, Victor Martinez, Edwin Encarnacion, and Mark Reynolds. There's Price. He's kind of a throwback pitcher, and he throws fastballs. And
yeah,
he's going to give up some home runs. He's allowed the Blue Jays 18 home runs. He's given up only 19 to the Yankees. That's the most he's given up to one ball club.
And he'll challenge you. He's a fastball pitcher who will challenge you. And we've talked long and hard about how Jose Bautista can hit anybody's fastball in baseball.
Line drive down the left field line. That's a fair ball. It skips into the corner. Bautista is headed for second. He'll throw the brakes on. Nice play by Brock Holt down in that corner to dig it out and get it back in. Bautista's perfect 2 for 2.
You got to spend some time in the outfield, especially here at Fenway Park, learning all the nooks and crannies of this field, and Brock Holt does a good job here. This looks like double all the way for Bautista. He's thinking 2. And if you're the runner, you got to make the throw stop you. Holt gets over, bare hands the ball, and throws an accurate ball to second base to hold Bautista, much to the delight of David Price.
And absolutely, you keep that double play in order. Bautista had designs on second. And you're right, he made the left fielder stop him, and he did. So Edwin Encarnacion struck out to end the first. Hitters wearing sunglasses here. They're just trying to combat the elements. Shadows have creeped out over the mound now. This is driven deep to center. Jackie Bradley Jr. on the run. It's off the wall. Bautista's being waved around third. The relay throw from the outfield will be cut off, and Encarnacion drives home Bautista. That was a line drive to that 379 mark in left center.
Remember, we told you that the wind is blowing in here, so it's going to be tough to knock a ball out of here. You have to hit those wind cutters, I call them, low line drives that cut right through the wind. Jackie Bradley thinks he's got a beat on it, but no. And then the Blue Jays catch a break as that ball ricochets away from Bradley. Bautista can come all the way around to score from first base. Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, Tulowitzki. It's such a dangerous middle part of this lineup that they're always in the game when these guys are coming up. They've got a chance because they can knock the ball out of the ballpark.
This is a ballpark where you truly have to play 9 innings no matter how the game's starting. Chances are it's going to end up with a different outcome. Tulowitzki goes after the first pitch. Fair ball to third. Tell you what, I've been impressed with Travis Shaw. He has good hands at third. He's got a very accurate arm. I mean, he took his time and threw a chest-high strike to Hanley Ramirez.
Red Sox have just 3 errors to start this season, tied with Kansas City for the fewest in the American League. Not one game of third base in the minor leagues. Guy looks like he's been playing it over there his whole season.
The Red Sox haven't made an error at home. This is their 5th home game this season.
You must be a good athlete that you don't play a game in the minors, come up to the big leagues and look like you've been there forever.
2 outs. Chris Colabella with Encarnacion at second. First pitch swinging, lifts a high pop into shallow right. Pedroia, the second baseman, is out, makes the catch. He stayed with it. Blue Jays cut into the lead. They trailed by 2.
Streaming sports service delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Thank you very much, Hazel May. And if you had MLB.tv, you'd know that Felix Hernandez has tied Randy Johnson for the franchise strikeout record. Last night, Bryce Harper had 3 hits at Philadelphia. He is 10 for his last 17 at-bats at Citizens Bank Park. And he's had at least 2 hits and a home run in each of those last 4 games.
Put him on. Walk the guy from now on if you're the Phillies, right?
How about the Cardinals? They hit 6 home runs last night as they pounded on your Cincinnati Reds.
Should have had 7. Billy Hamilton went over the wall to steal a home run from Matt Carpenter.
And of course, everybody's celebrating in Minnesota and Atlanta as they both won their first game last night. This is Christian Vasquez, the catcher. He fouls it back. Vasquez called out on strikes in the second. Two and 1 to the #8 hitter in the Red Sox lineup. Marco Estrada gave up 4 runs on 5 hits in the 3rd inning. Strike 2. Ground ball pulled to the hole past Tulowitzki. Another hit for Vasquez. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Break up the Twins. Things are starting to turn around for Minnesota. Kevin Jepson doing the closing now, picked up his 2nd save of the season. Trevor Proof with 3 hits in that game.
That was a pick of mine, that an underdog type of team this year. Got off to an awful start. I don't know, or I don't think that they're good enough to win that division, but I think they'd be an underdog team to win a few more games than they lose this year.
Jackie Bradley Jr. started the rally last inning with a hot shot comeback into the mound. He had hit Estrada, carried him towards shortstop, and he beat Tulowitzki's throw to the bag.
I don't see anything from Marco Estrada that suggests that he's having problems after getting hit by that ball. He's still throwing hard and making good pitches.
Little tapper. Estrada gets to it. He'll go to the bag. Boy, good effort by Estrada as he had to extend, and now it looks like he's feeling the effects of it on his right leg.
Gosh, right after I said that, you're right. He stumbled just a little bit after he reached for that ball. There's a noticeable limp as he makes his way back to the mound.
It took him off balance. He nearly went down, and I think he may have caused some problem with his right leg now. George Poulos out, the head trainer, going to check on Estrada. He got hit in the back of the left leg, and now it looks like he's concerned with the right leg.
Yeah, he's pointing to his right leg like something, a knee or a thigh or something, but he went full bore, bent over, caught the ball, stumbled just a little bit, and then finished off the play. Let's take a look at it one more time. It's Jackie Bradley one more time. Catches it, and you see a little bit, then there's the feel. He feels it right after he crosses the bag in the right leg.
He had to fight to maintain his balance as he was stumbling. Looked like he might fall down, but he was able to right himself and get the out at first. Vasquez at second now. Mookie Betts takes a strike. Mookie Betts is 0 for 2 so far. Mookie Betts has reached base in 20 straight home games. He loves hitting in this ballpark. Fouls this one back. Strada's ahead 1-2. Over the span of those 20 home games, Mookie Betts has hit .438. 10 doubles, 3 homers, and 15 RBIs.
That's what I mean last year. He struggled the first 2 months of the season, but from June 1st on, he put up some big numbers, over 300 batting average. I think he's got great aptitude at the plate, that he understands his swing. I think he understands what pitchers are trying to do to him, and he can make those types of adjustments at the plate. He's got the quick bat like we talked about. You think you can slip a fastball by him, and his hands are so quick. The most important thing for him, you can see where his hands are. He drops them a little bit, but then gets them back up. Does that type of swing where his hands drop and then come back up remind you of anybody? Reminds me of Josh Donaldson a little bit. It's a repeatable swing, meaning that he does a lot of things, but the swing is the same every time. And if you're repeatable, you don't go into any slumps.
Two and two. Missed outside. If Mookie Betts was 6 foot tall, he'd have been a first-round draft pick. He's that kind of athlete. He's 5'9", and everybody was a little bit hesitant to buy in on Mookie Betts. Fouls it back. We saw Pedroia on deck. And he's another guy that gets the most out of every ounce of his body. He was out here at 12 o'clock today working on double plays with Josh Rutledge, another young infielder.
4 hours before the ball game, he was out here after a night game last night.
Hit into center field. Pilar's got to come in. A long run for him. He's going to get there and makes the catch. 2 down.
We got him here. What do you need?
Save during the homeowner sale only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
We got him. She needs a big one, though. No problem. We'll take care of you right here. How we doing today? Good?
We'll take 2 up here.
You bet. That looked great. Nothing like a dog at the old ballpark. 2 outs for Dustin Pedroia. Pedroia singled back in the third, part of that 4-run rally. That extended his personal hit streak to 19 games against the Blue Jays.
We were just talking about Mookie Betts' stature and Dustin Pedroia's stature. These are guys who've had to prove their whole life that they can play. High school, college, minor leagues, big leagues, everybody's doubted them. But it's that attitude, that type of attitude is going to carry you a long way.
Pedroia, Rookie of the Year and the MVP the next year. Estrada trying to save this run. Vasquez at second. Pedroia lifts it down the right side. Long run for Colabello. Foul territory. He makes a nice catch over the shoulder. That gets Estrada through 4. We'll go to the top of the 5th. The Blue Jays are down 4-2. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn. Floated over the last several seasons, and we've got some prime examples. Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers, $34.5 million. Zach Greinke of the Diamondbacks, $34 million. David Price signed a $217 million contract. It averages out to $30 million a season, and there are a lot of guys getting big contracts now. David Price has a unique contract in that he can opt out of that contract after the 2018 season.
I suspect a little bit that I know David Price and a little bit that we got to know him after 2 months last season, that pitching in Boston with that type of expectations and that big salary, I don't think that's going to affect him. That's David Dombrowski, the general manager of the Boston Red Sox, who signed him.
Now, they were together, Dombrowski and Price, with the Detroit Tigers. In fact, Dombrowski authored the trade of Price to the Blue Jays. And we had talked about that free agent class after the 2018 regular season. It's impressive. That includes Kershaw, who also has an opt-out in his contract. Russell Martin now a ball in the strike.
And you're saying David Price has an opt-out, that he could opt out after that season, be part of that free agent class?
The pitching class alone is stellar. It includes Price, Kershaw, Jose Fernandez, Matt Harvey, Dallas Keuchel, Shelby Miller, Garrett Richards, and Jose Quintana.
That's just the starters.
That's just the starters.
I'll take them. I'll take my chances with those guys on my staff.
Russell rips it into center, a base hit. So David Price with the great contract here, and here's some of the players that have been given opt-out opportunities in their free agent contract. David Price after the 18 season, Ian Kennedy with the Royals. 17, Johnny Cueto with the Giants. Justin Upton has an opt-out after 17. Cespedes, and Jason Hayward has 2 opt-outs.
That's the new thing, isn't it? The opt-outs. A little surprised about Cespedes after this season.
Yeah, 1 year.
Opt out. We'll see it.
I think his salary is $27 million this year with an opt-out.
Think that might come into play for the Blue Jays this winter? Not looking ahead or anything, but people are suggesting that might be a way of keeping the big hitters.
Using an opt-out clause to entice them to sign? Do you have an opt-out clause?
No. I don't even know what an opt-out clause is.
No, I don't want to even give them the thought of any kind of opt-out.
Where am I going to opt out to? Right?
The couch.
Exactly.
So Russell Martin with the leadoff single, and that's a great sign now. Darwin Barney is behind 0-2.
You know what was a great sign is him going back through the middle. That's where a lot of hits are for Russell Martin.
Barney fights it off. It's a 4-2 ball game. Blue Jays lost last night's game 5-3. Blue Jays again took the lead. They scored a run in the first. They've added a run in the fourth. Trying to chip away at David Price. Pat, you have been around the game a long time, and there are certain players that make everybody around them better. And it's a rare commodity to have a great player who does that. But David Price, to me, changed the personality of the Blue Jays club as soon as he walked in the door.
I agree 100%. And I put that to John Gibbons today. I asked him, what was it about David Price you learned that you didn't know about him after you acquired him? He said, what a great teammate. He doesn't need the credit. All he cares about is just winning. He cares about his teammates. He tries to make everybody around him better. And you're right, when he came to Toronto last year, it just seemed like that whole team came together.
Strike three, Darwin Barney thought it was off the plate. Angel Hernandez rings him up. That's 5 strikeouts for David Price. Well, David Price is in a pretty elite class. When you look at the lowest ERA among pitchers since 2009, King Felix topped the heap. Chris Sale's off to a 3-0 start, and then David Price with a 3.12 earned run average. That's a pretty impressive top 5.
And look, those are players, pitchers all in the American League. You got to deal with the designated hitter, and they've got the great earned run average. That's why these guys make the big money. And you don't win, I don't think, unless you have great pitching, great starting pitching. Verlander's teams, they've been to the World Series. Jared Weaver's teams have been into the playoffs. Price, King Felix. Got to have those studs in your starting rotation.
Carrera, the number 9 hitter, bunts it up the first base line. It's a beauty. Price is going to let it roll, and it's going to go into foul territory. Oh, what a terrific bunt, but David Price, once he recognized he couldn't get to it, said, you know what, I just got to let it roll and hope it goes foul, and it did.
It looked like it was going to stay on the grass. I think this is a ball that Hanley Ramirez, especially holding that runner at first base, has got to come and get it and then tag the runner. But Price did the right thing. Once he saw that Carrera was going to be by him, all you can do is just let it go and hope that it goes foul.
And Carrera didn't really take the bat with him. He just kind of squared around, put the bunt down in a good spot, and he was going to beat it out had it stayed fair. Line drive to Bogarts. Martin will get back in plenty of time. Carrera, another good at bat, hits it right at the shortstop.
That one stings, doesn't it? On a chilly day like that, you catch it right in your palm. Normally you see infielders wear a batting glove to take some of that sting out of that ball. That thing right into the palm of Bogarts, the shortstop. I think he's still feeling it.
Back to the top of the order, third at bat for Kevin Pillar. He has struck out looking and once swinging. He bunts it. This one's foul, and Vasquez makes the catch. Christian Vasquez has made his presence known in his 2 games back, coming back from Tommy John. Leadoff single, and the Blue Jays can't do anything with it, but they're happy to have their 25-year-old catcher back behind the plate. Marco Estrada had one rough inning, a 4-run third inning, and he's trailing 4-2 as he's set to work the bottom of the 5th. Xander Bogaerts, he's the one that did most of the damage in that 4-run third inning. He had a 3-run home run, his first homer of the season. Jackie Bradley Jr. and Dustin Pedroia both singled in that inning.
You know why he's such a good hitter? He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He had one of the best batting average last year with 2 strikes. Almost 100 points higher than the major league average. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes, and he can go the other way.
He's a great fastball hitter to begin with. Trying to go down and away. Right back to a strike.
The all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
David Ortiz over 1 with a walk. Ortiz grounded out to Donaldson almost at straightaway shortstop. That's a foul ball.
Lots of room in right field with David Ortiz at the plate. The Blue Jays are in that big time shift with Ortiz at the plate. That's Darwin Barney. He is so deep in the outfield that he's got to shield his eyes from the sun. Watch him a couple of times out there having to put his hand up there to be able to look inside to see, because he's so far out there into the outfield. It's a lonely position, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's such an odd position for an infielder. You're standing out in right field, basically, and it's a long throw. You can see where Barney is in relationship to the dirt.
Well, he's lucky, Darwin. He gets to stand in the shade of the light stand out there to help him with the sun. Look how deep he is at second base.
He's going to have a strong arm to play that far away from first base. Of course, the shifts, they all started right here at Fenway Park. Ted Williams was the first guy that had to hit against the Boudreau shift. The manager, Lou Boudreau of the Cleveland Indians, used that shift on Ted Williams. And now the computers give you all the printouts of positioning, pitches, where the players hit the ball. And the defense is aligned because of it. This is popped up. Donaldson backpedaling. Tulowitzki shadowing him. Donaldson out in left field makes the catch. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. The Blue Jays will see the White Sox and the Oakland Athletics on their next homestand. Oakland has got quite a different lineup than we have seen the last several years. Danny Valencia, former Blue Jays, hitting cleanup, playing third base for Oakland.
7 losses this year for Oakland, all of them at home. 1-7 at home are the A's.
Sonny Gray pitching, as Jamie mentioned. He's one of the best in the game. Hanley Ramirez, he's been on base both times, reached on a fielder's choice and doubled and scored in the third. This is shot down the right side. Bautista over near the pesky pole in fair territory. Makes the catch. Good inning for Marco Estrada. 3 up, 3 down. When we come back, it'll be Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion. Ready to start the top half of the 6th inning. David Price will face Josh Donaldson and Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion. Donaldson and Bautista had extra base hits in the 1st. Encarnacion had a double in the 4th.
The best part of the Blue Jays lineup coming up again here in the 6th inning.
They have 4 of the Blue Jays' 5 hits this afternoon. David Price knows exactly where he is in the Blue Jays lineup right now, and he knows he's got a minefield to work through here in the 6th. Donaldson gets a base hit. That'll start things off. Leadoff single here in the 6th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Historic Fenway Park. That's where we're at this weekend. Blue Jays down 4-2. Now Jose Bautista. He's 2 for 2 already this afternoon off David Price.
I'll tell you what David Price is thinking about. He's thinking about he might have to reach back for a little something extra, having to deal with these guys now for the 3rd time. Jose in particular has looked very comfortable against David Price this afternoon. He has stung a couple of balls, hasn't he, off the wall in left field, and then looked like a double his last time up, but ended up being a single down the left field line.
We talked about Bautista with manager John Farrell of the Red Sox and how they defend him. Farrell has tremendous respect for Bautista's ability to handle the bat. He said, you know, he's pulling most of the time, but if you give him a hole on the right side, he'll take a shot and just drive it through there.
Says he's such a smart hitter that he will pick his spots when he will do it. depending on the pitcher and the count. They'll move their infielders around depending on the count also. In this situation with a runner on first base, there's already a hole on the right side. You can see Dustin Pedroia, the second baseman, at double play depth.
Price with that step off and throw to first. Donaldson had to scamper back to get there.
Josh had a huge lead over there at first base. It looked like it was almost like he was telling Price, hey, throw over here, try and pick me off. And he had that quick step off move.
One and one to Batista. They chased one outside. 1-2 now.
Here's the lead for Donaldson. Look how big that lead is over there at first base. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's just trying to draw a throw from David Price. Players know ballparks, and the cut of the grass here at Fenway Park has been changed. A lot of times you can judge your lead by the cut of the grass, and the Fenway faithful, they changed it over the wintertime.
Yeah, you're talking about where that infield grass is cut out just beyond the bag at first. They have added 4 feet of turf to the inside cut just to cut down the dirt exposed area in front of the corner infielders. And it's kind of curious why they decided to, but the groundskeeper told me that baseball operations came to them and said, we want you to eliminate that big, large dirt area in front of the corner infielders.
See that semicircle there of the grass and the dirt around each one of the bases? They made it smaller by about 4 feet. Players can now play the ball off the grass here on grounders instead of having to play it off the dirt. You're going to get a little bit more of a truer hop.
And the genesis of that thinking was the fact that it was going to be Pablo Sandoval and Hanley Ramirez playing the corners. There's no getting around it. They were trying to tailor-make their infield for a few guys playing the corners. Bautista strikes out. Price came inside. Then when Encarnacion doubled back in the 4th, and last night he had a big night with the bat.
Well, when he is on, you're going to start seeing a lot of extra base hits, and it started last night against Rick Porcello. This one, home run number 1 on the season, and then number 2 on the season, and on the night, a line drive laser over that wall in left field. Add that double that he had last time, a one-hander at the 379 sign in left center field. Looks like Edwin might be heating up just a little bit.
Just the way the Blue Jays like it. Price jumps ahead.
We've had a chance to watch Edwin and Jose hit over the last few years, and it seems like when those guys are on fire, they can carry the team, because they've got such big bats. They're home run power, and you can get 2 or 3 runs very quickly with one swing.
That's high, but it's going to stay in the ballpark. Brock Holt moving over to his right. He makes the catch, and Encarnacion just got underneath that one.
Encouraging signs, though, in his swings. David Price thought that this game was tied up. I think so did Edwin after that swing.
Troy Tulowitzki, 0 for 2. Interesting pitch. He took something off and fooled Tulowitzki, who took a strike. Well, that's the quality of a good hitter right there. You know, less established hitters would swing at that pitch just because it was a strike.
Troy, though, didn't like it. I'm not afraid to hit with one strike. I think what Price is going to have to do is he's going to have to show him that inside pitch, not necessarily get him out, but he's going to have to show that he's willing to go inside against the Blue Jays, especially the big right-handers.
Little squibber right out in front of home. That's a fair ball. Vasquez throws out Tulowitzki. Donaldson gets the leadoff single, and they can't move him up.
This flyaway contest is now on. Enter for your chance to cheer on the Blue Jays in Boston with WestJet. Go to bluejays.com/WestJetFlyaway to enter.
Great weekend in Boston, and why not jump on a plane? 2 more games left in this series tomorrow afternoon and Monday morning. Got plenty of time to get down to Boston, catch that morning game.
That just doesn't sound right, does it?
Have you ever
Yes.
played in it?
I think I did it twice as a player.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. The novelty of it is interesting.
That wake-up call comes real early.
Travis Shaw pops it up, got jammed with that inside pitch. 1 down. First time they've retired Shaw this afternoon.
Save during the homeowner sale only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Statue of the great Carl Yastrzemski outside the ballpark. Yaz was an icon here forever. Man, could he hit. Won a Triple Crown in 1967. A great miracle season for the Red Sox. Interesting, they had a Triple Crown winner in 66 and a Triple Crown winner in 67 and none since. Frank Robinson was washed up in the National League, so they traded him to the Orioles, and he was the MVP and won the Triple Crown in 66.
Did Miggy win one? Cabrera did he come close to one, or was that a batting title I'm thinking now?
I think he was close to one. I don't think he won one, did he?
I know it in 66 and 67, and then forever they didn't have one. I thought Let's go. There's Gavin Floyd starting to get loose. Marco Estrada's up to 91 pitches.
Miguel Cabrera did win a Triple Crown in 12. 330, 44, and 139. Our apologies, Miggy.
That's a guy.
That's a pretty good year.
Yeah, that's a pretty good year. A big guy to forget about.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Brock Holt. He's not had any fun against Marco Estrada this afternoon. In fact, he never has had a hit. He's 0 for 10 for his career against Estrada. Marco's retired 7 straight. Up the middle, that's his first hit against Marco Estrada. A 1-out single here in the 6th.
Why is it every time you say it, it comes back to haunt you? They've been making some great pitches, and then Brock Holt looked like he was sitting on that type of pitch right there. And he got what he was looking for, picks up his first hit. It's like in basketball when you say, well, this guy hasn't missed a free throw in his last 25 shots, and clank.
Clank right off the front edge. Christian Vasquez 1 for 2. Ground ball, Tulowitzki in the hole. They go to second for 1, back to first in time. What a double play started by Tulowitzki. Ball in the hole, it goes to Barney. 6-4-3 on the double play. We'll head to the 7th.
Log into My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ7253 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. The code must be entered by 11:59 p.m. tonight. Look for a new code tomorrow. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Great opportunity for all these Blue Jay fans here at Fenway Park for a late inning rally, something we haven't seen a lot of from the Blue Jays this season. And of course, against the Boston Red Sox, not only do you have to deal with David Price, but a very formidable bullpen. Chris Colabello waves at that first pitch from David Price.
Blue Jays have got the leadoff runner on the last 2 innings and have not been able to do anything against Price.
They haven't moved him up. Russell Martin singled to start the 5th. He stayed at first, and then Josh Donaldson singled to start the 6th. Boy, when you're going bad, every pitch is a perfect one, isn't it?
Leads him off with a changeup, perfect pitch down and away, then a cutter, and you also don't get the benefit of a doubt. That one looks like it would possibly inside, but you can see on pitch tracker that number 2 looked like it missed the strike zone, but he's in a hole now.
And when that happens as a hitter, you all of a sudden start to swing at balls, and you expand your strike zone, you go out of your strengths, and the slump continues, it worsens.
Well, what you can't do is look at the scoreboard. You can't look up there and look at your batting average. That one is off the plate, because then you start pressing and you start feeling like you have to get hit every single time up. What you have to do, tell yourself you're going to start having some good at-bats, good approach. Just think of one positive thing when you're in that batter's box and try and keep it as simple as possible.
Colabello strikes out. 7 strikeouts for Price.
That's 14 straight starts for David Price with at least 6 strikeouts. This time he's going to throw the same pitch he led off the at-bat with, is a changeup down and away, and Chris comes up empty.
Young fans have been reading the sports pages. Russell Martin had a good at bat his last time up, ripped one back into center field. Tries to bunt it and bunts it foul. He had Travis Shaw deep at third. That ball tracked in on him, and he really had to manipulate the bat just to get the bat on the ball.
That's something you don't see every day. A right-handed batter in Fenway Park against a left-handed pitcher trying to drag bunt. Normally you take your chances with that wall in left field. Shinichi Tozawa is getting up.
Tozawa got 2 outs in last night's game to close out the 7th inning. He struck out Smoke and got Michael Saunders to pop out. Tozawa, Uehara, and Kimbrel. That's the big 3 in their bullpen. Also gets a piece of it. No Stroh, stick to pitching. And I'll put the bat back. Okay. Well, maybe he's still thinking about it.
He might want to face his buddy David Price, no?
Good changeup from Price. Martin strikes out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Price here in the 7th.
That streak I was talking about, at least 6 strikeouts in 14 straight starts. That's the longest active streak in the major leagues. And that's a changeup down and away. Strikeout number 8.
Darwin Barney, he has been a strikeout victim this afternoon. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Four-2 ball game. Blue Jays are just a bloop and a blast away from tying it up. Blue Jays scored a run in the first off David Price. Donaldson tripled. Bautista doubled to drive home Donaldson, and Bautista was out trying to advance to third base. David Price is feeling it right now.
Yeah, he sees the finish line. I don't think he's going to be able to finish this one, but he sees the finish line for his day. He's cutting that ball in on the righties, and then he's using the changeup to go down and away. Now the crowd's going to get into it, see if they can get him through the 7th.
Strike 3 called. Price strikes out to side in the 7th. Boston has a 4-2 lead.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
New pitcher for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 7th with the big right-hander Gavin Floyd taking over for Marco Estrada.
Blue Jays are in a little predicament, if you will, with the bullpen. They've got a couple of guys that they're transitioning into the bullpen. Joe Biagini's one of them. He's been a starter his whole career. Gavin Floyd's been a starter basically his whole career, so he is transitioning into the bullpen, so they got to give him a little bit more time to warm up and make sure he's ready. When he is, he still has that good fastball and that devastating curveball that he can pick up some strikeouts. Last worked 4 days ago against the Yankees. They had a very clean inning.
Jackie Bradley Jr. hits it on the ground. Barney waits at second. 1 down. David Price, a strong 7th inning. It's congratulations. His day has come to an end. And a good start for David Price as he records 9 strikeouts, and talk about an exclamation point. He gets a handshake from the skipper, but he threw up a 3 strikeout top of the 7th to say thank you very much and I'll see you next time.
Finished with a flurry, right?
Yep.
Finished strong.
Mookie Betts is 0 for 3. Breaking ball misses down away. Gavin Floyd, 33 years old now. He's a former 4th pick overall in the 2001 draft. He was drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies. His best years came with the Chicago White Sox. He spent 7 years with the White Sox. He had a career season in 2008. He went 17-8 in 33 starts. Pilar ranges back. He's got room. He took 1 look at that center field fence, knew he had plenty of room. 2 down. Marco Estrada ran into trouble in the 3rd inning. Other than that, it was okay, but 4 runs on 5 hits in the 3rd inning led to his exit.
Yeah, 6 innings for Marco, not as sharp than the last time he faced the Boston Red Sox when he was outstanding. I don't think he could have thrown any better. The Bogart's home run really got to him, and we don't know if it's because of that ball that was knocked off of his calf, but it just seemed like after that infield hit by Bradley, he gave up a single, a home run, a double, and then another single after that inning. But went in, looked like he got that thing taken care of and came back out and threw up some zeros.
Generally when you get hit, we don't know exactly where he got hit, but if you get hit in a big muscle, it's not until the next day or maybe the second day that you're really going to feel the true impact of getting hit in the leg.
Probably felt it for the rest of that inning, and it was on the left leg, that landing leg.
Dustin Pedroia, 1 for 3 this afternoon. He scored a run in that third inning. Gavin Floyd has made 196 starts in his career. Pedroia with a half swing pops it into the seats. Floyd was in competition for a spot in the rotation this spring, and at the end it was he and Aaron Sanchez who were the last two men standing. Sanchez won that battle, and Floyd starts out the season in the bullpen.
But he can be a very valuable guy in that bullpen, coming out giving you multiple innings because they build up his stamina in spring training. Plus, he's not going to be intimidated in any situation. He's been around.
Drive of the Game is brought to you by the all-new Honda Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Well, we were just talking about the home run by Xander Bogart, so I think we'll show it to you. A pitch out over the plate. They wanted to go inside to the shortstop from the Boston Red Sox. And Xander Bogaerts with his a 3-run home run, his first home run of the season. A part of a big 4-run third inning for the Red Sox.
2-out walk to Pedroia, and Bogaerts goes after the first pitch. Bautista's in right. Should be no problem, and the 2-out walk didn't factor. We'll go to the 8th. The Blue Jays down by 2.
J Shop is Canada's largest and only official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. New 2016 authentic jersey with 40th season sleeve patch available now. Get yours today at jshop.ca.
J Shop had a lot of customers that ended up here at Fenway Park. There's a lot of Blue Jay fans with all their memorabilia, and they are bundled up fighting this cold afternoon. Koji Uehara will come out to start the top of the 8th inning.
6 games already this season. He's had 4 holds. Picked up his 4th one in last night's game. He's also got a consecutive scoreless streak working at 12 2/3. 083 for the right-handers. Fastball splitter. And the one thing that Koji Uehara has, he's got outstanding control.
Ezequiel Carrera started in left field. He has gone 0 for 2. A ground out and a line out. Blue Jays need a base runner. They've had a first batter on in the 5th and 6th, but failed to advance him. There's a great bunt. Travis Shaw will make a throw, but nowhere nearly in time. Carrera is aboard, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate. Terrific bunt by Carrera. Starts off the 8th.
He had been trying that all day. Last time up, he pulled it up the first base line, and it just went foul. That time he just deadens it in front of Shaw, the third baseman, who was in. Look where he is. He's in on the grass, recognizes it, but it's a perfect bunt. No chance to get Carrera, and a good start for the Jays.
So for the 3rd inning in the last 4, the Blue Jays have the leadoff hitter aboard. Kevin Pillar 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Keep the line moving.
Get the guys on in front of Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion. This is a key at bat right here for Pillar. He's got to get on base for that guy.
Carrera obviously is not a running situation for the Blue Jays. Christian Vasquez picked off Tulowitzki in last night's game. He's got a cannon for an arm.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want right here, is to get yourself taken off the bases after a great bunt. Just anchor yourself over there.
1-1 count to Pillar. Ground ball. Bogarts it short quickly to Pedroia for 1, back to first base. Double play. Hanley Ramirez, in his first season at first base, did a terrific job of receiving that throw from Pedroia and keeping his foot on the bag.
That would have been interesting if they didn't get the play over at first base because of the slide at second base. Dustin Pedroia hangs in there on the tough slide by Carrera. Watch him go over the bag. He hits him. And Hanley Ramirez showing off his athleticism over there at first base, keeping that right foot on the bag to finish off the double play.
Good turn by Pedroia. Good catch over at first by Hanley Ramirez. Nice stretch as he lost his balance, but he stayed on the bag. Blue Jays are considering and watch the slide of Carrera.
He starts it before the bag. That's good. Good finish right there by Hanley. But then he slid a little bit past the bag and hit Pedroia. Moot point now.
So 2 outs. Now Uehara has a little breathing room with Donaldson batting. Nobody on.
Oh, that's why that Pillar at bat was so big. Get him on, and now you're really talking about doing some damage. Now if he gives up a home run, he still has the lead.
Donaldson shoots it into the seats. Boy, that's a good illustration of the neighborhood play. Looked like Pedroia's left foot Lost contact with the base. Popped up. Center of the diamond. And Ramirez takes charge. Good inning for Uehara. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Red Sox lead at 4-2. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast.
One nation. Share your passion for Canada's team and include your message on the Players Tunnel at Rogers Centre. To participate, visit any Rogers retail location before April 30th and sign the Blue Jays fan board. Visit RogersCelebrates.com for details.
Brett Cecil into the game to pitch the 8th inning. David Ortiz will be the first batter to face Cecil. Blue Jays trail by 2.
John Gibbons does a good job of getting the matchups that he wants when he brings relievers into the ball game. Brett's got a couple of left-handers to deal with. 2 out of the 3 batters, scheduled batters, are left-handers. Got to keep it a 2-run game.
Kevin Floyd worked an inning. Ortiz, he was trying to bunt that one. He's behind Cecil. 0-2.
That might not work because Brett Cecil really falls off of the mound towards the third base side. You got to get the ball by him. And Brett's a good athlete. He's falling off to the third base side. I don't even think that would be a good idea.
Ortiz just 5 for 29 against Cecil, and that led him to think about that 1-strike bunt. That's a 172 average, so Cecil has had the upper hand against Big Papi. There's a base hit. Leadoff single for Ortiz.
Not a bad pitch by Brett Cecil. It's a breaking ball. He gets some good spin on it, puts the plate coverage by Ortiz down and away.
Ortiz 1 for 3 with a walk. Andy Ramirez will bat next. Ramirez made a heck of a stretch to complete the double play in the top half of this inning.
You know, he bought in spring training, and he worked very hard on his defense over at first base, and it's showing off.
players have a lot of pride, and he had a rough year psychologically last year. Then he hurt his shoulder running into the wall down the left field line. But he committed to this first base.
I remember seeing him at the end of last year at first base taking some ground balls, and they didn't even play him.
Donaldson at third, Barney at second, return throw in time, and they're going to call Barney for not being in contact with the base. The Blue Jays don't have a challenge, but we're in the 8th inning, and they can ask the umpires to review it. Barney kicked at the base. He was off the base when he caught it, but then he kicked at the base. Looked like he made contact for the force out.
Well, right before last half inning, we showed you Dustin Pedroia looked like his foot was off the base when he caught it. And it's a play because of the new slide rule. You can review it and take a look at it. The neighborhood play doesn't count anymore. It doesn't. You don't use that. Let's see one more time. Well, it looks like the knee touched the base.
And then he kicked at it with his foot. It looked like he kicked the corner of the bag. This will give you a better angle. It looked like his knee was on the base when he caught the ball.
Well, Blue Jays were out of challenge. They had a challenge early in the game, and then they lost it. But after the 6th inning, you can go out and ask the umpire, hey, can you take a look at that one for me? I think he had it. They're obliging. The Blue Jays might catch the break here.
This replay review is powered by Samsung. John Gibbons used the video challenge in the first inning on a call at third base. Bautista was called out. The Blue Jays lost that challenge. The call on the field stood. And they're reviewing now the neighborhood play at second base, whether or not Darwin Barney touched the bag before throwing to first.
I thought he caught it here and his knee went down. It looked like it hit the bag. Not real sure. That wasn't conclusive evidence for me if he actually kicked it, but his knee looked like he got the bag right there. And then on to first base and plenty of time to get Ramirez.
So Ramirez is out, 5-4-3 on the ground now. The ruling on the field is that Ortiz is safe, as Barney did not step on the bag at second. And that's what's under review. Well, they're taking a long time with this one. There's a couple of different chances as Barney's knee was on the base, appeared to be on the base when he caught the ball. And then as many times as we've seen him kick at the bag, it appears as though he was over the top of the bag when he kicked it.
Yeah. Conclusive evidence. That's what they're looking for. It looked like the knee was on the bag when he caught the ball.
See, John Farrell was on the phone with his video room. So everybody just standing around on this cool early evening here in Boston, and this is the problem with the replay. It takes too long, and they're going to call him out. So the Blue Jays win this one. They ask the umpires to review. Ortiz will head toward the Red Sox dugout. It'll be a double play after review. 5-4-3 on the double play. Darwin Barney is backed up by the video review.
He looked up at the big screen here and saw the replay and said, hey, my knee hit the bag, and they're going to get this one in the Blue Jays' favor.
Travis Shaw on his 26th birthday has gone 2 for 3. Craig Kimbrell, the closer for the Red Sox, loosening up. The Blue Jays will send Bautista, Encarnacion, and Troy Tulowitzki to the plate in the 9th. Weak ground ball. Donaldson, here's shortstop, throws him out. Cecil with a good inning. 3 up, 3 down. The Blue Jays have the meat of their order coming to the plate to face Craig Kimbrell. Boston has a 4-2 lead.
Our camera set out to properly introduce the new Blue Jays president, prepared to prove his critics wrong. First Impression, the Mark Shapiro story. Tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern on Sportsnet 1.
I've actually seen that, and it is a very well done story, and it'll give you some more insight about the new president of the Blue Jays, Mark Shapiro. So make sure you check that out. It's a very good piece and a well done documentary. Craig Kimbrell picked up the save in last night's game. He's on to try to save this one for David Price.
He faced this part of the lineup in the 9th inning in last night's game. He got Donaldson, Bautista before he gave up a hit and a walk, and then a strikeout to pick up that save.
Kimbrell has had at least one strikeout in his last 25 appearances. It goes back to July 30th last season. It's the longest such streak in the majors. Hard fastball, hard curveball.
Well, that's what he's got. He's got that good fastball, and he can really spin a breaking ball. It's hard. And it moves. You can't really sit on just one pitch.
Kimbrell is going to have his work cut out. Bautista, he had a double and an RBI in the first. He singled and scored in the fourth. Edwin Encarnacion, he has an RBI double today. Then Troy Tulowitzki.
No fun to sit underneath that pitch right underneath your chin. That's Michael Saunders, who's grabbed the bat and getting himself ready.
Chris Colabello follows Tulowitzki, and that's probably where Saunders will be utilized. Bautista with a mighty cut.
Since 2011, Kimbrell's had the most saves in Major League Baseball, so he's not going to wilt under these types of circumstances, these types of games. He's just going to blaze that fastball in there. Just be ready. Catch it out in front.
Full count. Popped out of play. Power against power, no doubt about it. Bautista, 17 career home runs here in this ballpark. Blue Jays need a base runner. They're down by 2. Bautista got a piece of it.
Somehow, Jose, he can even time a guy who's thrown almost 100 miles an hour. He was asking Angel Hernandez, the home plate umpire, if that was a strike, but he creates bat speed with that leg kick and his great hand-eye coordination. You got to figure he's throwing in a fastball.
Bautista can't believe it.
Neither can I.
Angel Hernandez calls him out. Pitch looked to be off the plate, down and away.
Well, he has such a great eye, Jose. And he's so locked in. He knows exactly what that pitcher's trying to do for him. Look at the pitch tracker over there. Pitch number 8 of the at-bat looks like it's way off the plate. There's some other disbelieving faces in that Blue Jay dugout, and that ball is off the plate.
Yeah, it sure is. And Vasquez moved his glove about 8 inches after he caught it, and Bautista can't believe it. He had a good look at it, and it was outside.
You know, Vasquez did a good job of framing that thing up and getting a strike for his pitcher. But that ball was off the plate.
Yeah, too much movement sometimes will give an umpire a little red flag saying that's outside, but that wasn't the case on that pitch to Bautista. You work hard against the tough pitcher and work for a walk to start the inning, and then you get called out. It's a tough one.
Well, you bring the tying run to the plate, and a guy who's got power to knock it out of here and tie the game up. That's the part that really hurts. It's tough to hit to begin with. And look at the Edwin. He was asking if that ball was a strike.
One and two. Two down. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central, here's Martin Gaillard. Thank you very much, Martin, and stay tuned for it coming up after the ball game. 2 strikeouts for Kimbrel. He now has recorded strikeouts in 26 consecutive appearances. That ties his all-time high. Troy Tulowitzki. Blue Jays 11 more strikeouts this afternoon.
Hey, you're facing the best that the Boston Red Sox have to offer, don't you? 9 for Price, 9 strikeouts. Then you got Uehara and now Kimbrel.
Well, that's life in the AL East. It's going to be like that all summer long. Baltimore's off to a great start. The Blue Jays will go there on Tuesday night.
Yankees, they've got a powerful bullpen also.
2-1. Michael Saunders has come out on deck if Tulowitzki can keep it alive. Now back to the screen.
I tell you, the fans are getting their money's worth here in the 9th inning. They're going to like cheering for this guy right here with the electric arm. 98, not a real big guy, but he's got a quick arm, doesn't he?
Great fastball, great curveball. Kimbrel strikes out the side, and the Red Sox win it. 3 strikeouts in the 9th, 12 in the ball game, and the Blue Jays allow the Red Sox to score in just 1 inning, but those 4 runs hold up for the 4-2 win.
Well, you knew you were going to be in tough against David Price and the rest of that bullpen for the Boston Red Sox. Tough conditions to hit in. They scored in the 1st, they scored in the 4th. Marco Estrada, except for that 1 inning, threw zeros on the board the rest of the game. But the